Good morning, everybody. Hope you're keeping well. And just to remind you that we are having our midweek tomorrow night by Zoom conversation with Steve Burton. Hopefully, I'm going to be speaking to Steve later on today to make sure that everything's working, and we're going to speak to him tomorrow night and have a conversation with him about life over in Alabama during all of this. So I hope you'll be able to join us. Link is in the newsletter. Or if you haven't got it, please get in touch with me and I will send that to you. Also, just to say, we are planning a collection for Storehouse. That is going to be on Saturday the 27th of March. That's the Saturday before Palm Sunday. And down at the church from 10 to 12. And if you can leave stuff down, there's a list of the things that Storehouse particularly are looking for. It's on the Facebook page. Or again, if you want to know more about that, please get in touch with me and we can give you details. We're going to read from Mark chapter 13 and starting at verse 14. It's quite a difficult passage, quite a strange passage with lots of imagery in it, but it's worth pressing through. Mark 13. But when you see the abomination of desolation standing where he ought not to be, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down, nor enter his house to take anything out. And let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that it may not happen in winter. For in those days there will be such tribulation as has not been from the beginning of the creation that God created until now, and never will be. And if the Lord had not cut short the days, no human being would be saved, but for the sake of the elect whom he chose, he shortened the days. And then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or look, there he is, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform signs and wonders to lead astray, if possible, the elect. But be on guard. I've told you all things beforehand. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will be falling from heaven, and the powers in the heavens will be shaken. And then they will see the Son of Man coming in clouds with great power and glory. And then he will send out the angels and gather his elect from the four winds, from the ends of the earth to the ends of heaven. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But concerning that day or that hour, no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, keep awake, for you do not know when the time will come. It's like a man going on a journey when he leaves home and puts his servants in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to stay awake. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening, or at midnight, or when the rooster crows, or in the morning, lest he come suddenly and find you asleep. And what I say to you, I say to all, stay awake. The idea which is mentioned here, which Jesus mentions here, of wars and rumors of wars, of natural disasters and persecution of the saints is uncomfortable for us to read, let's be honest. These are hard passages and hard ideas for us to think about. And he gives more detail here when he talks about these wars and rumors of wars and persecutions. There's more detail for the disciples. He gives details of the near future, the future within a lifetime of when he's speaking. And in verses 14 to 23 that we've read, it very much focuses in on the fall of Jerusalem. And on that day when the temple will fall, when Jerusalem will be invaded by the Roman forces. But he also goes on to speak about the further future in verses 24 to 31. And there's a whole mixture of images in here about what he expects, or what we are to expect to see in those days. He talks about days of darkness, days of deep darkness. He also talks about that darkness coming to an end with a day of immense glory in verse 26. And that in that day it will also be the day of salvation for those who have trusted in Christ, those who have come to him and who he gathers to himself. And he encourages his disciples to look out for the signs, to be aware of the world around them, of what's going on and how that is pointing them to that day when he comes and when all things are made new. And then he encourages them to stay awake, to keep watch, to be aware of what's going on, and to remember his words, to remember what he has said. Whenever these things happen, remember he told you that it would come to pass. Remember he told you what would happen. So what does all of this mean for us now? What do these strange signs and figures of speech mean for us now, where we are? I suppose one thing that it tells us is that we shouldn't get so focused on the here and now that we lose sight of the goal ahead of us. Jesus is speaking to his disciples in Holy Week, in the last week of his earthly life. And they are about to get caught up in the drama of the cross. They're about to get caught up in everything that's going to happen in these next few days. And their minds are going to be in a whirl. Their world is going to be turned upside down in the next couple of days. Jesus is reminding them here that beyond those next couple of days, there is more to look forward to. Beyond the cross, there is so much more to look forward to. And in fact, there's more to look forward to because of the cross. Because Jesus has taken our curse upon himself, because Jesus has died in our place, because he will rise again to finally defeat the curse of sin and death, we know that there's more to look forward to, and that's what he's explaining to them here. Beyond the sufferings of the present days, beyond the sufferings even that you might experience when the temple falls and the Romans invade, beyond the experience of all of these days, there is more to look forward to than you can possibly imagine. So for us today, when some figures tell us that 1 in every 8 Christians around the world are persecuted for their faith, when we've seen Christian leaders exposed for their immorality in recent days, when we've seen a false prosperity gospel being taught that tells you that if you trust in Jesus, then you'll have bigger houses, more cars, more money, and all the rest of it. When we see that, and when we're living in the midst of a pandemic, Jesus says to us, read the signs. Know that this was always going to happen. Know that there are no quick fixes to all of this. But hold on to me. Hold on to Christ. Persevere. Stay awake. Keep your eyes on the prize. That's what he's saying to us. And I guess at this point, when it's just about a year since we entered lockdown for the first time, keeping our eyes on the prize means more than just the next 4, 5, 6, 12 months. It goes way beyond that. Keeping our eyes on the prize means looking to the prize that he gained for us at the cross. Hebrews 12 verse 2. Looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. We need to look at the joy that he has set before us and keep hanging on. Keep your eyes on the prize. God bless.